Namatto Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello. Happy Vesak Day. So first of all, would like to thank you for inviting me to attend this SIL program on the occasion of Vesak Day. Unfortunately, I am not able to be there physically, and it's been quite a while that I haven't been there to be with you all. So again, I'm here with you all to celebrate Vesak. As you know, that today we are here to celebrate Vesak Day, which means we are celebrating the life of the Buddha. The day when he was born, the day when he got enlightenment, and the day when he passed away. Isn't that amazing? It's a very rare occasion, or very rare that people will born on the same day in a different year. So the Buddha was. So the Buddha was born in Nepal long time ago. He was born as a prince, had a luxurious life. Everything that he could wish, it was there. He just had to think about it, and his father and his parents simply brought him. And yet he felt something unusual, something lacking. It wasn't giving him happiness. So he decided to give up his palace life and become a monk at the age of 29. And he spent 6 years studying and practicing with the different teachers. And he became very skilled on those techniques, methods. And each teachers were very happy to see. And yet again, he found that that wasn't leading him a happiness. So he decided to go alone. Go alone and practice in the forest. So he practiced, and he practiced, and he practiced. So suddenly on the Vesak day, again, in a different year, when he was 35 years, he got enlightenment. He realized that, the cause of a happiness is to get rid of all the suffering. So that's how he became the Buddha, which means a person who knows what should be known. And after that, he spent for 45 years. 45 years. Sharing his knowledge, sharing his understanding to every living beings. According to the scripture, it says, not only living beings as a humans, but also celestial beings, which we can see quite a number of examples of all the celestial beings coming down from the heavens to talk to him. So, after 45 years, at the age of 80, he passed away. So, number one, the Vesak day is the day when the Buddha was born in Lumbini. Number two, he was enlightened at the age of 35 in Buddha Gaya. And number three, he passed away at the age of 80 in Kushinagara, after sharing his knowledge, his understanding for 45 years. So that every time when we come to the temple, or every time when we observe the sila, every time when there will be any occasion, we normally say a word, not a word, a sentence called Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Yeah? Do you remember? Do you think is it familiar to you? Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, which means homage to the Blessed One, Noble One, and perfectly enlightened one. Yeah? So, homage to the Blessed One, Noble One, perfectly enlightened one. Do you think is it familiar to you now? So, Namo Tassa means homage. We're worshipping, we're paying respect to who? To the Blessed One. A person who possessed the blessings. So that's why we normally pay respect to the Buddha. So Bhagavato means blessed one, a person who has got the blessings for us. A person who pays respect to him will be blessed. A noble one. Here, noble one means Arahato, one who has get rid of all the defilements, all the negative things, whatever negativity is there, he has uprooted them, all of them. Call it kilesas, as a greed, hatred, and delusion, ignorance, greed, wanting, never satisfied, never happy with what you have. Is it familiar to you? So never happy, like you have something and you always want new things, and that's the reason why you have so many clothes and so many shoes, which quite often you never use it, but because you want, you simply go and get it, or you simply go and want your parents to buy it for you. That's a greed, never satisfied. And hatred, again, whenever you do not get what you want, or somebody tells you something that you dislike it, or somebody does that you didn't like it, then again hatred generates, anger generates. And there are so many things that we do not know. Do you think that you know everything? No. I don't think I know everything. I know only little things, only few things. And our life is a journey to know things. So that's why a person who has get rid of this desire, wanting, the greed, and the hatred, or the anger, and the person who has full of qualification. He has known everything what should be known. That's called arahato. Yeah? And samma sambuddhassa, which means self-enlightened or perfectly enlightened. See, he had spent a lot of time studying with other people, other teachers, and eventually he gave up teachers and went into the forest and practiced for himself. And that's why whenever we are saying this, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, whether before the observation of a sila, or whether they at home before go to sleep, or whenever you feel scared or fear, or feel confused at that time, simply think about the Buddha and recite this Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So it will help you. Okay, it will help you. Now we have you have just heard me saying Buddha's life and why we celebrate the Vesak day, and then what is the meaning of the sentence that we normally say, Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. And now I want to tell you about the teachings of the Buddha. What is his teachings? And before we going into the teachings, we have to understand that the Buddha was a compassionate one. That's why we respect him as a compassionate one. And we look at his life, we see that even when he was a child, he was a very kind and compassionate child. He was very kind to so many animals, not only his friends, but all the animals. He was very kind. And you may have heard there is a story of a swan. Now, I want to share this screen about the swan, the story of a swan that I have asked one of my students to draw a cartoon. Okay, and I have illustrated a little bit, which I'm going to share to you all. So the story of the Siddhartha saved the swan. Okay. So this is the Siddhartha saved the swan. The story was that the Prince Siddhartha was very hospitable and very kind. And he, remember, never insulted anyone. Now you can ask yourself, have you ever insulted anybody? Yeah. So he never insulted anyone, but he was very kind to everyone. And also he helped out others with his generous mind every time. Can you ask yourself, when was the last time you helped other people? Now here, think about your parents. Have you ever helped your parents cleaning the dishes? I have seen whenever you have finished your eating, what you normally do, you put your dish on the sink, wash your hand, and off you go. You can think of this little action. Have you ever washed your dish? Helping your mother. And further on, let me ask you, if you have done, okay? Do you make your bed yourself? Do you think that making a bed is helping others? It does. When you make your bed, the very moment when you come up from your bed, and then before doing anything, just make sure that you're making your bed. Or do you wake up before your parents come and wake you up? Or you're waiting for your parents to come and knock a door and say, baby, darling, this is time for wake up, wakey, wakey. Is it like that? Or you simply wake up on time before your parents come, yeah? And then you have already made your bed. So I really want to see that happens. Yeah? So kindness begins from your home. You can start from the very day when you wake up, make your bed. Okay. And the second, what is the second one? Do not wait for your parents to come and wake you up. And third, washing your dish, washing your plate. And that simple thing you can do. Like the Siddhartha did. He was very kind and very hospitable. And here, hospitable again, he was always there welcoming other people. Do you do that? Whenever people come to your house, do you go and talk to them? Do you go and welcoming them? Oh, hello, how are you? Please come on in, take a seat. What would you like to drink? Like that. Or you simply say, oh, this is my house. I can do whatever I want. I don't care. You are like that? No, you have to start changing. You can learn to be kind to a person. Like I remember there was a family came from Sri Lanka, and somehow family had to leave the country, UK, but their daughter, due to her study, she stayed here in the UK. So she didn't have parents. So she was living with her auntie. And it happened that somehow in one of the houses, there was a big dana. So there were monk invited for house blessings. And in that house, there were a couple of girls. And then other few families came as well. And they also came along with few girls. Now they known each other. So they've been friends for a long time. And they have coming to the temple and known each other. But this girl who just came from Sri Lanka for a couple of months now, and somehow she stayed in the UK, but she hasn't developed a friendship with those girls. Did you know what happens? Those girls didn't welcome her. In a way, she was cornered and she felt very alone. She was very lonely. She couldn't talk to her seniors, their parents, because she was still young. And again, she wasn't included with this so-called girls group. So remember, whenever you see anyone who's coming in the gatherings, making sure that nobody is cornered or nobody is left alone, go and welcoming them, talking them, be kind to them. Yeah. So this is Siddhartha was like that. So the Siddhartha was very hospitable, very kind, and very helping mind. Yeah? Now it happened that one day Prince Siddhartha was going with his cousin and companions. So they were playing in the garden. And there was someone who also joined in this event. He is Prince Siddhartha's closest cousin, and his name was Devadatta. Do you know the story? Do you know the Devadatta? Yeah. And but even they are cousins. They didn't have anything in similar. It is because of the different their merits. Yeah. So Devadatta was very cruel. Devadatta was very nasty. He wasn't kind. He wasn't hospitable. Always, I want this and this is me. This is what I want. That kind of a nature. Does it sound like you? Yeah. So, and that's simpler because here Devadatta and Siddhartha, two boys, are having two different characters. Yeah. And that's simpler because of a different merits. Now, but in the other hand, the Prince Devadatta was delinquent with a cruel mind. He liked to scandalize and sometimes fool with his own envies. So he always envy others. Yeah. So on that day, along with everybody, they went out play in the garden. Yeah. So on the day, other children didn't take anything, but this Devadatta took a bow with him. So you can see bow with him. And he sensed something above his head. So the swan was flying over his head. The swan was flying over his head. And he saw this beautiful swan flying over it. And suddenly, without thinking of anything, he took a bow and arrow, charged it. Charged to who? Charged to the swan. And his arrow straight away onto the swan's one of the wings. Swan now couldn't fly away, so the swan drops in the garden. And it happened that when the Prince Siddhartha saw it fell down, he ran to reach to the pity of swan. So he felt very sorry to see that the swan is fall down due to the arrow. The swan was in great pain and struggling on the floor. Have you ever seen any birds that is struggling to fly away? I see a lot here. A lot here. So the prince gently carried it to make it not frightened anymore. So he patted and hold this swan and then pulled the arrow out of his wing. And immediately Siddhartha took some leaves, and what happened after that, he bring the herb to cover the wound for stop bleeding. So you know that this you can use it. Any leaves or any grass, all you need to do is to take and rub it, and then you can put that into the wounds. It helps to heal or stop bleeding. Now that is what Siddhartha did to the swan. Now Prince Devadatta, his cousin, wasn't happy anymore, and he started demanding. And he said, "Hey, it's mine, give it to me now." Well, so the Prince Devadatta was angrily demanding for it. "This is mine, give it to me." And Prince Siddhartha said, "No, I can't give it to you." So Prince Siddhartha won't hand the swan to Devadatta. And he said, "This swan is still injured." Devadatta demanded, saying that, "But I am the one who shot it. Stop messing and give it to me now." So he was very demanding. It's like, do you remember? Can you recall your moment of sometimes you're demanding? It's not fair. I need it. This is the only thing that I want. Like that. Yeah. Is it familiar? So then Siddhartha again said, yes, indeed, you shot it. Yeah, you are a rightful yours because you shot it. But the swan is still alive. Then it shouldn't be belong to the person who saved her. Yeah. So what do you think? Isn't it? So the Siddhartha is saying, or Siddhartha is rationalizing, saying that Devadatta, yes, you are rightful to the swan because you shot it, but the swan is not dead yet. Swan is still alive. I saved it. So isn't it belongs to the person who saved it? What do you think? Yeah? So then the Devadatta wasn't happy, and he again demanded, saying that it is still my shot. So he demanded that it is still my shot. It's mine, he said. Look at this. He's very angry. And suddenly the Siddhartha, ping, the light bulbs in his brain turns on. And he said, why don't we ask the wise minister to get this conclusion? So Prince Siddhartha suggested that they should ask for the wise minister's help. So here, when you rationalize, when you use wisdom, then you can come to conclusion rather than fighting to one another who owns the swan. Better go and ask someone who knows about it. Like when you are in a school, remember, whenever you are having a fight or whenever you are having an argument and you do not know where that ends, simply go to the teachers or simply go to the parents. Remember, use your brain. Yeah, think about it. And then here, this one, after the Prince Siddhartha suggested, Prince Devadatta also agreed with him. And he said with very loud, in a very strong voice, fine. So off they go. Yeah, off they go. And question came to the ministers that who did the swan will belong to? Now there have an opposite opinion. So some say it should belongs to its saver, lifesaver. And also it says, according to the kingdom law, it should belong to the shooter. And can't any conclusion. So nobody can come to conclusion. There were two groups. One group say that this is belongs to a person who saved. Another say that no, according to the country's law, it should be belongs to the suitor. Now, who do you think it is belongs to? Who do you think it will belong to? Now, the argument went on very long time. No one can come to conclusion that whom the swan will belong to. But then what happened is suddenly one little boy comes in, a wise one, someone they've never seen before. And he said, pardon me, my friend. He was very wise, and he's young, wise minister. So he was a very young, wise minister. Often doesn't talk too much, but wait for the moment. And say, may I assist you to find the answer? He offers a solution. Said, The topic in the discussion is about the life. Whose life? Swan's life. But don't you think that the life is priceless and very important to the living? So what do you think? Do you think your life is precious and priceless? It is indeed, and it is very important. Between the one who saved life and the one who tried to destroy, then which one will the swan belong to? So there comes the Siddhartha who saved the swan. There comes Devadatta who tries to kill. Now, who do you think the swan belongs to? Then again, everybody began to rationalize and think about it. And then we finally get the answer for the topic of the argument. The right of the swan will belong to the Prince Siddhartha. You know why? Because Prince Siddhartha saved the swan. Now that conclusion wasn't good for Devadatta. And so what? Whereas look at the picture, the swan is simply happy, you know? And then Siddhartha simply say, thank you. And after that conclusion, Siddhartha took the swan home, take care of the swan, look after the swan, and then eventually release the swan back to the nature again. And that is the kindness that the Siddhartha had. And not only the swan, he was very kind, as I have said. He was very kind to everyone, everything, every animals. And not only during the time of when he was a swan, when he was a prince, but even after he became the Buddha, he was so kind that he spent for 45 years teaching to overcome suffering. Overcome suffering. And about the kindness, once again, we have to remember the kindness is something that never ends. We can do many as you can. Never ends. We can start from small things, giving a smile, giving a hello. How are you? Yeah? How are you? You can give it to everyone. And that way, the whole environment becomes so inhabitable. Harmony. Everybody will be cheerful, happy. And the Buddha, not only in the time when he was a swan, when he was a prince and saved the swan, and he was kind to all the living beings and taught this Dhamma, even in his past lives, he was very kind, helping his people, helping his members. Like the so-called the story Monkey King. Have you ever heard story of a Monkey King? Okay. Let me tell you again. So far away, yeah, far, very far away in the east, high among the great mountains in the forests, like in the Himalayas. Yeah. A few years ago, I went to Everest Base Camp, in the Himalayas, but there is no monkeys, only yaks. But here we are talking about the king, the Monkey King. Okay, so in the forest, there once lived a band of monkeys. So band of monkeys, and one day when they were just exploring around, they spotted a beautiful tree with lots of fruits. And it happened that that was mango. Yeah, that was mango. Do you know mango? Have you eaten any mangoes? Delicious mangoes. So that was a mango tree with delicious fruits in it. And one monkey said, "Look, a fruit tree." So this one monkey told to everyone. And then there's another monkey said, "Oh, hold on, stop. Don't eat the fruit yet. It might be poisonous." Because they do not know which fruit is eatable and which is not, because they were still young. So one of his friends told him, "Okay, do not eat it. Let's go and talk to our king. So he will tell us once the king tells us whether this mango is eatable or not, then we will eat it." Okay? And then Monkey King comes, da da da, down, 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 yeah? Walks with the majestically. The monkey comes, and the Monkey King took the golden fruit, sniffs it, yeah, and then tests it, and he just simply says, "This mango, this fruit is absolutely delicious." Yeah, absolutely delicious. Is there any more? Where it came from? So, and then these two young monkeys told the king, "Yes, my lord, there are hundreds of them." And then they went to see this tree and then say, "What a beautiful tree." So the tree was very beautiful. "We could all live here, but we must be careful not to let any fruit drop into the water. If one were carried away down the river to the towns where the humans live, someone might test it and come looking for this tree. Let us first pick all the fruit that hangs over the river. That way we will live safely." For many months, they were living and eating these mangoes and very happy. Everyone took great care not to drop any fruit into the water. But no one had noticed one last mango hanging over the river, and one fine night it dropped, unseen by any monkeys, float along the river. Where do you think it would go? As the Monkey King said, the mango fell into the water and drifted downstream until where the humans were. And some days later, the king of the humans were bathing, having a bath in the river. And his men saw this big, giant golden mango. Offer it to the king. "Here, taste that." And that fruit was very tasty. And so, "Oh, this is very tasty." And after king ate that first fruit, said, "I want more." Now king's order, right? So with that, they all marched to the forest. And with that, what happened was that they arrived to the tree. And somehow, having seen these monkeys, now monkeys found that it is dangerous. The king and his soldiers will kill them. So they had to cross the river. And what happened was that this king, Monkey King, hold one branch from one side to the one branch of another side of a river and let them cross the river safely. And the king was watching it. And somehow at the end, this monkey king was unable to hold. He hurt himself and broken his back and fell down. The human king went and picked it up and said, "Why did you do that? You are the strongest one and you are the king. Why did you do that and broke yourself and you about almost die?" And he said, "They are my people. Yeah? They are my people. I don't want them to be killed by the king, by the king, the human king. So I want to save them. That's why I sacrifice my own life, And having heard that, having heard Monkey King saying, the human king was very touched and told the monkey and told everybody, saying that this monkey king has shown me how to be a real king. And this is, I think, is happening in much of the world, even in Sri Lanka now. Yeah, there's lots of crisis going on. And that's simply because the politicians, those who are in the government, think that they are the king and not serving the citizens properly. They should have taken example of the monkey king who sacrificed his life for the citizens to survive. Okay? So that sort of a kindness we have to develop, and that the monkey can develop that kind of a kindness. So if we become kind, not only we survive, but also we help others to survive too. But anyway, in the practice of Buddhism, how can we cultivate kindness? Now remember, before being kind to anybody else, you have to be kind to yourself. If you do not be kind to yourself, how could you be kind to anybody else? It is impossible. So, first of all, you have to be kind to yourself. That's why we have a practice called May I Be Happy. So first, be kind to yourself. Sharing to yourself. Putting yourself in the right position, and then helping others. Now, when we practice, so first of all, we share loving kindness to ourselves, and then loving kindness to others. Okay? So that we can start by thinking. Let's say, touch your head. Touch your head and say, "Thank you, my head, for letting me think." Can you do that? Okay. Both hands up, touch your head, close your eyes, and say, "Thank you, my head, for thinking, letting me think." Touch your ears. "Thank you, ears, for letting me hear." Touch your eyes. "Thank you, my eyes, for letting me see." Touch my mouth. "Thank you, my mouth, for letting me eat and speak." Now, touch your heart. Can you feel the beating heart? Doop, 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 like that. So close your eyes and connect with this heart. When you feel this beating heart, doop, 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 think about your mother. Imagine your mother's face. and saying, "Thank you, Mom, for taking care of me." Think about your dad. Thank you, my dad, for looking after me. Think about your sisters or brothers. If you don't have a brother, only sister, think of the sister. If you don't have a sister, only brother, think of the brother. Or if you don't have a brothers and sisters, think about someone that you are very close to. Saying, "Thank you for being my friend, being by my side." Now think about the cat. Thinking about a cat, a floppy cat. Imagine that you are touching a floppy cat and saying to the cat, "May you be happy. May you be happy." Think about a nice dog. Eh? Think about a nice dog that you really like. Imagine that you are touching. Eh? And saying, "May you be happy. May no harm come to you." Now think about everyone, everybody. Yeah? Think about everyone, everybody that you can think of. Saying, "May you be happy. May you be well." May you be healthy. Now, again, come back to you. So breathing in and blowing out. So breathing in from nose and breathing out from your mouth. And now simply just watch the breath coming in, going out. In your nose and feel in your belly. What happens when breathe in through your nose, and what happens in your belly? When breathe out, what happens in your belly? What happens in your nose? Now only observe only your belly. When you breathe in and breathe out, your abdomen or your belly rise and falls. See how far does it falls and how far does it rise. And each time when it rises, telling inwardly in your mind, rising, rising, rising. And when it falls, in your mind saying, falling, falling, falling. So let's practice for a couple of minutes. Rising, 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 falling, falling, falling. So practice on your own. Remember to make a note of it, saying in your mind when it rises and when it falls. Rising, rising, falling, falling. For a couple of minutes. Sapphe Buddha Balapata Pacchekanan Jayang Balang Arahantanan Jate Jena Rakhang Vandami Sabbasovan Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sabba Sankhanubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te. May you all be well and happy. May your all good wishes come true. May you attain real happiness. Real happiness. Wish you all the best and happy Vesak Day. Thank you and wish you all the best. And see you sometime soon. Best of luck. Bless you. Bye-bye.